Good morning. This morning I'm going to take you guys along with me to go milk my goat. I have to carry over a bunch of stuff, so I'm not going to be able to hold the camera while I'm doing that, but I will meet you guys over at the milking barn. All right, here we are at our milk barn, and Piper knows that it's time to be milked. She's eagerly waiting. You ready, honey? Good morning. Everybody else is hanging out. So first thing I do is get her grain all ready. So I've got a few different things here. We start with some alfalfa. We do a little bit of Goat-Tex. And then I do a little bit of black oil sunflower seeds. And that all gets put into her little feeder that's on the milk stanchion. And now we will go and get Piper. And she knows this all too well. So she'll go right on up. And I'll get her head locked in here. I misplaced my tripod, so you guys are going to have to kind of bear with me being propped up. But I will talk you guys through everything. So when I come out to milk, I bring out this caddy of materials. First thing I do is I brush Piper down. And so I have a soft brush here, and I try to just focus on her udder. It's been raining, so we have more mud and stuff like that. More stuff to be stuck. So I do just a quick little brush, get as much as I can off. Next, I have these udder wipes. You can get them on Amazon, and I can even send you a link for them if you like. They are super handy. They're just to wash the udder down. They make it so that I don't have to bring out a whole separate bucket of soap and water to wash things down. And I'm just really, she has a little, oh gosh, I'm falling, a little mud stuck. So normally I only need one, but today I'll be using a couple. She's got some like poopy mud stuck I was trying to get off. You guys can see that there. She's not liking that. I hear you, girl. Just trying to get you clean. Okay. I'm not too concerned about that mud back there because I'm not milking the back of her udder. Next, I have a pre-post iodine dip. This one is a dairy-specific dip. I just dip it onto her teats. We're going to let that sit for about a minute. And then I'll use the shop towel to wipe it off. And she just is munching away. The reason it took me a little bit longer, or that I had more stuff to carry today, was that the dog feeder was empty, so I had to bring over a bag of dog food plus my purple caddy and my stainless steel milking bucket, which I put in the barn here. So we're just letting the iodine sit for a little bit. I usually try to go anywhere between 30 seconds to a minute just to make sure that it kills all the bacteria. And then I have shop towel. It's just a little bit thicker, and it's nice to have a roll of to wipe it off. You could also just reuse towels and wash them, but I have enough laundry as it is, so this is one of the things that I choose to just make my life a little bit easier. I've got a 2-part strip cup here so that I can do a good checkup of her udder every single time we milk. So I strip, I look, it's got like a sifter, I guess, so that if there's any like big chunks or lumps or blood, that I would see them, or anything stringy or weird or gooey. Basically anything that shouldn't be there would show up. And so I do about 4 or 5 strips in each. Now I get my stainless steel milking bucket, and we are ready to milk. The air is actually cooler today, so the warm milk was making the bucket all fogged up right away. That was funny. Really shows we're starting to get into fall here. And it doesn't take too long to milk her out, usually just a few minutes. She's been giving me about a liter of milking. Sometimes I'll get closer to 1.5 liters. And we've been just freezing it and saving it so that when we start making our Rustle and Roam goat milk soap, I'll have a lot of milk stored up and ready to use. Once a goat starts her letdown, you only have about 5 or 10 minutes to milk her out all the way before this letdown stops. So you want to make sure that you're kind of on it for that. So now she's almost empty. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bump her bag like a goat kid would. So we kind of bump it, and that just allows a little bit more letdown to come down. It's a very natural signal to her body that she needs to let down more milk, and it just ensures that we're able to get all of the milk out, which is important to help prevent mastitis. So now she is empty. I got just about a half bucket of milk. I'm going to just set that aside so my dogs don't touch it. Our last step is to do a post-dip of the iodine. This just helps prevent any bacteria from going back up into the orifices. Normally, a goat kid's saliva would do the same thing, but she doesn't have any kids on her. We sold her 2 kids a couple weeks ago. So we do the post-dip to protect her. And again, it's like a mastitis prevention so that no bacteria will climb on up until those orifices close again. So the pre-dip is to protect us, and the post-dip is to protect her. And she is almost done her grain now. So I'll let her finish a little bit, and then we will let her out. So I do this twice a day. In the mornings, I milk for us for putting it in the freezer for the soap, and whatever I don't use for soap will also be stashed away for if we have like bottle babies, which we can use it for both goats and lambs. And in the evenings, I milk for the pigs. I just make my chores a little bit lighter. I just milk into a plastic bucket, and then I don't have to do all of the prep work. I still do a post-heat dip for her because it protects her. But I just milk straight into the bucket and then dump it into the pig trough. And although it's only about 1 liter of milk, it's 1 liter of milk that the pigs get every single night, and they love it, and it's great for them. So I only need so much milk for the freezer, and right now we aren't drinking the goat's milk. We totally could. I don't feel comfortable doing raw, so when we do drink it, I do pasteurize it. However, we're just not doing that right now. I have a lot on the go, so it's just one of those things that I have taken off of my list of things to do at the moment to keep my brain sorted, let's say. So trying not to take on everything at once. But I really want to start making our first soaps soon here. I've got a good stash of milk now in the freezer, and the milk has to be frozen to make soap because you have to mix it with lye. And the lye does like a chemical reaction and basically gets so hot that if the milk wasn't frozen, it would scorch it. So yeah, it's super exciting. We're hoping to do a lot of bar soap, get into like lotions and lip balms, and I want to try and get into like shampoo and conditioner bars. So that is all to come, hopefully this year. We've got a lot of unknowns and up in the airs with potentially moving. It's all kind of dependent on whether or not our house sells. And so that's been really tricky for winter planning. Right now we are in end of August, and the nights are cooling down. Fall is definitely creeping up on us. And so it is definitely stressful not having moved yet and not even having the house sold yet. We just did our 4th price drop today. And it's just been a really, really slow and tough market to sell in. So that's been really unfortunate for us. But I think Pipes is almost done her grain here. So let's take a look. Yep. And then I will take her back to her pen. Come on. Not going to be able to carry the phone while I carry things again, but I've got the milk and the cart that I'm going to take back to the house, and then I'll show you guys how I process them. Okay, so I am in the kitchen. We have, I don't know if I can show you, not quite. We have half a bucket of milk, and I am going to filter this and then get it into the freezer. So sometimes I'm just over a liter, so I like to use just a 2-liter jar, and that way I don't overflow or end up wasting anything. So I've got a 2-liter jar here, and then we've got a stainless steel milking funnel, milk filters that fit it, and they just go right inside. And then this little ring pushes the filter down so that it stays put and doesn't let anything go past it. So I am just gonna bump you guys down a little bit here so that you can see the milk being filtered. And I apologize for not having my tripod. I need to find that. But like I said, we are hopefully moving, and so we've been having a lot of showings, and I've been doing a lot of hasty cleaning up, and so things have been misplaced a little bit. As that's draining in, I give this a rinse with cold water. And I use cold water because hot water will actually bind the milk proteins to the bucket. So you want to make sure that you're rinsing all of your milking equipment with cold water first before you go in with your hot water soap. So same thing with the funnel. I always check my filter, make sure there's no blood or lumps or chunks or anything like that. Take the filter out, rinse the funnel with cold water, set that aside. Filter looks great. It just has a little bit of debris and hairs, which is completely normal. That's why we filter. And then now you would either cool it off really quickly, either by putting it in the freezer for a bit or in a really cold fridge if you were going to consume it raw, or you would pasteurize it and then cool it off really quick if you wanted it pasteurized. Or in our case, we're going to put it into these baggies, and then we are going to label them and freeze them because we are saving our milk for soap making. So these breast milk baggies work really nicely because they have the volume on them. And I've been getting about 4 baggies per milking, and then they lay nice and flat so I can freeze them like that. And then I just label them with the date, and I put Piper's name on there because I know that this is 100% Piper milk. So just for future, then I know like, okay, that was 100% milk that came from Piper. Should I ever need to know? Not the most important information in the world, but I have it, so I might as well add it. And I do all this before I even have my morning cup of coffee. So by the time I'm done milking, I do have to go and do other chores still. I noticed when I walked back that the turkeys needed water and the sheep dumped their water bucket, so I'll have to go do that. But I will be having a cup of coffee first. I made my coffee. I always make my coffee before I go out. Then I go do all the milking, and then I come in and have my cup of coffee. So she gave me a little bit less than usual today. However, it's been a really rainy, yucky night, so that could affect things a little bit. But now I have these 4 bags. I'm going to label them, and then I will get them into the freezer, and then we will wash up our milking equipment. All right, so I've got a Sharpie, and then I'll just write the date. There we go. And those will go into the freezer. And that's that. Now I just have to wash our milking equipment. Let's see if I can balance you guys in my windowsill while I do this. There we go. Okay, so now that I've used cold water to rinse, I'm going to use hot water and soap to finish washing it. So I'll use dish soap, and then we'll use hot water, and then we'll do a soap wash and a hot water rinse. And then we'll set them aside to dry. I also like to use a Prevail spray on them, which was recommended to me from my vet. And so I just ran out, so I need to make more, but I will spray it with Prevail to disinfect everything and kill all the bacteria that could be present. And I do that once a day as well. I just disinfected all of this last night, so I will make more Prevail and then do that today. But basically, you would do the hot water rinse, then you would spray it with your Prevail solution, and then you would let that sit on there for about a minute, and then you would rinse it with cold water, and then dry it off. And so that is kind of the routine for that, and then it's fully like disinfected and ready to go. And that is something that we do as well. And I just bought like the big jug of Prevail. You can buy the pre-mixed jug as well. I just bought like the big bulk full jug, and I just mix it myself. But yeah, that is all of the steps to milking. I'm gonna get my cup of coffee made, and then I will go out and do waters before I move on with the rest of my day. I'm not 100% sure what I have planned today. I would like to make more bread. I've been doing a lot of prep for my freezer. And so I ran out of flour yesterday, so we went to Costco quickly last night and stocked up on a bunch of things. So I have flour again. So I would like to do a few more batches of buns and some sliced bread loaves, and maybe work on some muffins and cookies and things. So we do have a few apples on our tree, and I debated also making some apple pie with the kids, or like even apple pie tarts. I haven't quite decided yet, but I thought that might be a fun thing to do. But anyway, that is it for this morning's video. I will try and be a little more consistent with videos. I know it's been a while since we posted, but I am so grateful for all of you for following and watching. As always, please subscribe to our channel, like and share our videos, and chat with me in the comments if you wish, and I will see you next time.